3, 2, 1, go! That was obnoxious. Down, down, down to the bottom of the cave. The Hole of Heroes sucks, but it's not as bad as the Cavern of Chaos. Do you like my lyrics? They never rhyme. Welcome back to Pikmin 2. I'm Lady Gear, and in today's video we're continuing on through the Hole of Heroes. Now this area, I gotta say, the RNG for sub-level 6, I was very grateful for it during this recording, because normally it spawns you right next to the Wally Hops. That's not fun! You get a tiny corridor thingy, and it's easy for a Pikmin to fall off. It's not fun when you're dealing with that with a bunch of Wally Hops that are trying to eat your face. So, yeah. And also, I didn't realize right here that we accidentally whistled some of the yellow Pikmin in our squad, and yeah, that's not going to end well for them. But also that right there, that blue Pikmin that was able to save the yellow, threw them into the other puddle. They were... I get they were trying to help, but bro, the yellow Pikmin can't swim. That's why you're trying to save them. Don't drown them in the other water. I was flabbergasted when I saw that, and I really wish I did live commentary during that, but I couldn't because I was still sick. Well, anyway, we're bringing over this way and opening up the way towards the next door. After we get the most important treasure in the entire game, peanut butter! Yeah! I love peanut butter! I believe in the Wii and GameCube version, this is based off Skippy's peanut butter. I haven't had that specific brand in a long time. I usually get Jif, but I love peanut butter. It's honestly probably like my top tier comfort food. It's the best on everything. I love it on sandwiches. I love it on burgers. I love it on ice cream. I love peanut butter. Sub-level 7. Just like 7-Eleven. Ooh, this one is a boss rematch. Who's it gonna be? Who's it gonna be? Who's it gonna be? Oh no! It's an easy one. So, yeah. That's the thing about this. A lot of the more difficult bosses that we've seen throughout the game, we're not seeing them again. We saw the Snogger, who was a little bit annoying not too long ago, but now we've got the Ranging Blowstar. And I totally remember his name off the top of my head. I didn't look it up on my cellular device. I have perfect memories for everything. So, the best strategy that I can recommend for this area. We'll be speeding up the gameplay right here while I talk about this, but I recommend you go over here, and while you have the Pikmin and your captains safe in the area over there, I recommend you have your other captain draw the attention of the Blowstar away from them, because the Blowstar is going to be keeping an eye on which captain is currently in charge. So while they're being distracted, use the cannon beetles to destroy each other so that you can take care of the Blowstar itself without worrying too much about them getting squished by the cannon beetles. And back in the magical land of regular gameplay speed. We're going to be going back over here, and it's just like before. We'll be using the super amazing powers of having one captain destroy the Blowstar, while we have the other one destroy the shiny thing on its butt. It's so shiny, I want to eat it. Like, doesn't the Blowstar just look so yummy? I can't be the only one who thinks it. It looks yummy. It's probably super juicy, with a nice fish texture. I don't even really like fish that much, but, it just looks, I want to eat it so bad! There's only like a couple small handful of fish that I actually like eating. I like trout, I believe. And no, salmon. That's what I like. I like salmon fish. They're yummy. But yeah, most seafood I have to be careful with because I have a shellfish allergy. Let's tell a fun story about that. So, growing up, I didn't think I was allergic to anything because I knew my sister's allergies and my mom had a lot of things like that. I didn't know if I had any allergies at that point, and I was like, okay, maybe I'm not allergic to anything. Maybe I'm immortal. But then I realized, I think it was my grandparents' anniversary dinner. We went to Red Lobster. Um, I don't remember exactly what I got, what food I got there. It was shrimp. So, my meal came with a side of shrimp, and while I'm eating them, first of all, I didn't really like eating shrimp that much, but I was always told growing up to be grateful for what food we have on the plate, so make an effort to finish what's on your plate. But I didn't like the shrimp, and I'm realizing I'm getting a little lightheaded, and my lips feel funny. So I'm gonna go to the bathroom and figure out what's going on with that. And I realized, yeah, my lips are really, really puffy. So I come back and I talked to my mom about it. I was like, "Hey, mom, is this normal? Every time I eat shrimp, my lips feel funny." And that's when we realized that I had an allergy. It's a very fascinating story, if I do say so myself. But what's another fascinating story is that we get another rest floor. I feel like this one happens a little too close to the other one. Not a whole lot happens, but we do get Bulbmin. We get Bulbmin, and Bulbmin are always welcome in the Gator family, because we abandoned them later. That is a horrible thing to say, I'm sorry. You're always welcome in our family, because we'll abandon you later. My god, that's horrible. Ah, okay, well, we destroyed the Bulbmin's mother, and now we're the new mummy. So this is going to be a good opportunity to get some more Pikmin. We're going to be using some of them to rebuild our red population and doing stuff of that nature. Whee! This floor just sucks. I do not like this one bit. The treasure is going to be in the fiery ball bear. So, make sure you still have reds in your squad before you come here. This is a big reason why on the previous floor I was using the Bulbmin to convert them over to the red Pikmin and things like that. So, yeah, that's a big reason why I was focusing more on that than anything else. And also, that giant spotty bull bear, or whatever his name is called, he's not going to leave us alone. So we want to be careful with that. So, what I recommend you do, try to make it so that he gets stuck on the lower part of the floor. Because he's apparently not too smart to realize, oh, there's a wall here, and I have stubby legs. I can't climb this wall, but maybe if I keep walking further into it, I can magically appear there. So, yeah, that's I think that was a thing. And I also didn't realize that the spotty bull bear regenerates health, like those machine gun fish guy things. I didn't realize that, so that was a fun thing to discover during this. But yeah, before you go fight the fire bull bear, I recommend you try to take out the other guys who are in the way before you do anything else. Unless you're doing a speed run, in which case you probably have like some magical formula for finishing this floor in 2.5 seconds. I have a lot of respect for speedrunners because, my goodness, speedrunners are crazy nowadays. I was watching a video about one that is probably my favorite speedrun that I've seen in a long time. So, I knew Wii Sports speedruns were a thing. I didn't know they'd gone this far. And apparently, there's a category for Wii Sports to play every sport, I guess, fast as possible. And how it works is that basically you win a match of tennis, win a match of baseball, finish 3 holes in golf, get a perfect game in bowling, and then, or at least finish the game in bowling rather, and then win a boxing match. And there's a lot of intricate things to this. So tennis is the easiest one. Baseball is the one where a lot of those runs go to die apparently because they it's a very RNG based game whenever you're on the pitching side. So yeah, I believe how it works is that at the beginning of the match, you gotta make sure you have at least one person um, on each of the bases, so that you can have 5 points before it changes sides. Because in baseball and Wii Sports, if the other team is 5 points ahead of you, it's a mercy victory, and the game will just end right there. I wish there was a way to change that because I remember when I was a kid, like when I was a kid, I wasn't the best sport in the world. I didn't take losing games very well and things like that. I got a lot better as I got older. But when I was a little kid, like I used to take it very personally if I lost a game and be like really hard on myself and things like that. And I remember there's one time, I think I was playing with my sister. We were playing baseball. She was 5 points ahead of me. And I remember getting really sad because it mercy ruled the game. And I was really, really sad because it's like, I'm not good enough to even finish the game anymore. I'm sad now. But over time, I got a lot better about being a better sport. Like my sisters and mom would encourage me to laugh about losing games and things like that, and be more encouraging to the other person. So that definitely was something I struggled with when I was a little kid. But nowadays, as I got older, I got a lot better about that. There are definitely moments here and there where, especially if I'm playing an online game, like I will get frustrated and things like that. Like Super Smash Brothers, playing that game online, that is my big trigger to getting upset with playing games nowadays. Because, especially with Smash Brothers Ultimate, where it feels like the matchmaking in that game just isn't that great. Where I'm either playing against people like I can never beat in a million years, or people who can never beat me in a million years. I feel like there's no middle ground between that, and that's something that's really frustrating in Smash Ultimate. And a little bit of Splatoon 3 to a degree, but eventually over time I learned to get better about not taking losing games so personally and being so hard on myself about things like that. But yeah, going back to the Wii Sports speedrun. Basically, in baseball, you got to get a mercy victory by being 5 points ahead of the other person. But then when it gets to the pitching side, it gets very difficult because you basically have to knock them all out super quickly, which can be very difficult to do because it's entirely RNG based on whether or not they're going to catch the ball or not. I remember as a kid, my sisters and I, we used to think that how it worked was that you take the Wii remote to get the person to try to catch the ball faster. That wasn't the case. That's just something that we thought one day, and we just randomly decided that was the scientific fact about that game. But that wasn't the case. So with the Fiery Ball Bear, if you're in a situation like this, I recommend you try to make it so that you lure them down to this area too, so it'll be easier for you to throw your Pikmin on top of the guy without having to worry too much about things. Now definitely don't like aimlessly throw them, because throwing them right next to him without them actually doing any damage can definitely lead to some premature Pikmin deaths, and that's not very pleasant at all. But yeah, baseball is the most difficult in the speedrun. Golf, though, that's got to be the most interesting one, because there's a glitch in Wii Sports Golf. I don't remember exactly how it triggers. I think it's something to do with taking the batteries out of the Wii remote in the middle of a golf swing. Like as it's flying through the air, you take the batteries out for a moment, it disconnects, and you put them back in, and then you get another shot if you move fast enough or something like that. I don't know the exact details of that, but watching golf speedruns in Wii Sports is probably the only time golf is ever interesting to watch. But then with bowling, I believe it's you gotta get 9 strikes or something like that, so that you don't do the second inning or whatever term you use for bowling or things like that. And then boxing super quickly. So apparently in Wii Sports speedruns, the biggest thing that people were trying to get was all sports in less than 7 minutes. Look up the history of that. It is fascinating. Like, it's very interesting seeing, like, just how close people got and seeing just how much baseball ruined the speedruns and things like that. And just it was one of the most interesting speedruns that I've seen in a long time. I don't really follow a whole lot of speedruns. I do watch Masaina's Mario 64 speedruns every now and then. And of course James is a world champion for, does he still have that record? I don't know if he does. But I know at least for a period of time James had the world record for a Box Boy speedrun. So that was interesting. I have thought about it every now and then. If I were to just speedrun a game, it'd either be Link's Awakening or Mario 64. Because I already know the speedrun route for Link's Awakening if I want to do that. I think for that one, I'd want to do the Doghouse glitch speedrun. But with Mario 64, I'd want to do something similar to Masainella, where it's like the 17-star speedrun or something like that. Dimensional Slicer. That's a very violent sounding name. I remember back when I was first thinking about getting into speedrunning, I was watching Masaina's Super Mario 64 speedrun, so I was thinking, this looks like a fun time. I might want to try to get into this. And I believe around that time, Super Mario 3D All-Stars was coming out for Switch. And I was thinking I could probably start practicing for Mario 64 speedrun because that game's already included in 3D All-Stars. But it turned out that the version of Mario 64 that was in 3D All-Stars was some updated Japanese version. I don't remember the name of it. But it removed some glitches, and one of those glitches was the backwards long jump thing. The backwards long jump, you can use that to get up the stairs super quickly. And this is an essential glitch for 17-star runs in Mario 64. We'll go back to that in a moment, but this right here, Emperor Blacks, we gotta fight this guy again. This is probably the second most difficult part of the dungeon, I gotta say. This definitely had one of the highest floor resets when I was doing the gameplay for this. Honestly, best advice I could recommend, just take a bunch of Ultra Spicy Sprays and just spam your Pikmin. You're probably going to lose a couple here and there, and that's fine. If you have a big squad, you should be okay. There's no bomb rocks in this floor, unfortunately, so you just got to be careful. And definitely don't try to find them both at once. Do not do that. That is a death wish. I recommend you try to lure them away from each other if you can before you fight them, but definitely do not fight them both at the same time. But we got them both taken out pretty quickly. We only lost 6 Pikmin. Not too bad, honestly. Not too bad at all. Treasured gyro block. So I remember thinking back in the day, my first thought whenever I hear the word gyro is that it's like some kind of motion controller thing. I remember thinking, was this Nintendo's way of hinting at motion controls for the next console? Because I know this game came out just a couple years before the Wii was a thing, so that's what my first thought of that was.